This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Alrighty, everybody, and welcome to the Nintendo Pulse podcast. This is episode number 68. Been a while. Recording this on Thursday, December 12th, 2013. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, Stephen Munn. And he just previously showed me a big box of paper. Stephen Munn. Stephen, how are you doing?
Okay, I have a big box of paper. I don't know if you'd heard.
I heard that somewhere. I heard that somewhere.
It is wrapped in plastic.
Oh, wow. It's plasticized paper.
It is. What Lloyd and I are screwing around and talking about is the Legend of Zelda collector's box, the strategy guide collector's box, with all the, what are they, Brady guides or something?
Prima? Breda? Brady? Prima?
Yeah, Prima guides that come in the big collector's treasure chest. All these hardcover, gold-edged books. Looks like a treasure chest on the front.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep. I decided to pick it up on Amazon for like $107 after seeing the review on Nintendo Life. And reading that they did major revisions to the Skyward Sword guide. Right. And I stopped playing Skyward Sword because of the Prima guide, because it was that broken and that bad.
Lovely.
So maybe this will let me go back into it.
Prometheus.
I can do the unboxing on the show.
The live unboxing on the show.
I could, but I think it would probably be very boring. It's just a bunch of books.
Oh, here's another book. It also has a Triforce on the cover. Let's take out the next one. It's indeed a book, and there's a Triforce on the cover.
But still another book.
Yeah.
If you want to see an unboxing of it, though, they do have that in a video on Nintendo Life. So
nice.
If you really do want to see one, you can go check that out there.
Nice. Awesome. Well, let's get into the show, man.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's talk about it, I think.
Yeah, I think we do. It's been a couple weeks since we last did a show. We're not giving up for the holidays quite yet. We're probably going to be doing 2 more shows, this one included, before we take a small break for the holidays, come back in the new year. Maybe with some stuff in the middle. Who knows? Had some issues pop up over the last couple of weeks, so we couldn't do a show, but we're happy to be here. Thanks everybody that sent in their email and all the lovely tweets on the Twitters, letting us know that there hasn't been a show in a while, because we were unaware of that. But now
Twitters were awake.
Yeah, but now we're aware and we're here, and it's all good. So Stephen, how the heck have you been?
I have been okay. I was actually just looking to see if you had tweeted that the show.
I'm doing that right now. That's why I passed it over to you. So
okay,
through the magic.
I want the Twitter to go RT it. I'm doing good. I've been so much gaming, and there's so much good stuff to play. You know, life is just it's a great time to be a gamer. Even if you didn't buy a PS4 and an Xbone, I didn't buy either one, but you know, with the new Zelda, with the new Mario. I've got the new gold 3DS XL I showed on the last show. It's great. It's just great. It's a really good time to be playing stuff, and it's a hard time to hang on to money though, because particularly here in the US, I think on Amazon, the deals have been unbelievable. I mean,
they have been pretty ridiculous.
Even stuff that's not a lightning deal. Like there was a company, like a third-party company, selling Batman Arkham City Armored Edition for Wii U for $8, and that's with Prime shipping. So $8 free shipping, a new copy of Arkham.
And it probably cost them $6.20 to ship it to you. So they made a buck and 25 cents or something.
Right. Well, I think what happens is Amazon reimburses them. Yeah. But and this has like all the DLC and all like the extra content that's just for this version of the game and stuff. Right. You know, maybe I'll get through it. I had trouble with the PC version. I got stuck in it.
Right.
But for $8,
yeah, it's almost worth it just to get more jewel cases for other things in case you don't like the game.
And not just Amazon. Like Best Buy had this 1 day thing on Cyber Monday, online only. You could buy new Super Luigi U and Fire Emblem Awakening for 3DS. Each of those games was $15. So I bought them online, and I went and picked them up.
Nice. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. I was watching a lot of the sales. We had a lot of Black Friday sales up here in Canada, as all the stores are trying to combat people going to the States and buying stuff down there. So there was $150 3DSs. There was a bunch of games that were on for $20. There was a bunch of places selling the PlayStation Plus memberships for $30. And I looked at that and I was like, I should buy a couple. But it was like, I have another year of my PlayStation Plus membership. I don't need to do that. And then I just got an email or a message on PlayStation. Your PlayStation Plus membership is about to expire. I'm like, what? That can't be right. I go look at it, and sure enough, it expires in the middle of this month. So it's like less than a week away. It's like, damn it. I should have bought the $30 card. Just bought 2 of them, and then it would have been good for another couple of years. But that was about it. I didn't really take advantage of anything else, or I didn't almost take advantage of anything else. I didn't take advantage of much. But yeah, it was great to see all the sales up here. I got 2 Disney Infinity characters for, what was it? 2 for $20. So I saved $6. That was my big Black Friday sales extravaganza that I did on that Friday. So it was fun, but not really.
That is cool. This just all these deals and stuff. I mean, I'm buying more stuff for myself than for any of the people I have to shop for. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a good Christmas. I think we're getting a lot of cool things for the kids, and I'm gonna be getting a lot of cool things for me. I mean, my wife. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. All right, well, let's get into the show proper. Steven, what have you been playing?
Well, of course, Animal Crossing New Leaf, but I think that I have lapsed as a player longer than I had before, ever before. But it's only been like 3 days or so. But I still think that that's probably the longest, that I've gone without gaming, without playing Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Right.
I was still playing it every day while I was going through Link Between Worlds. And I beat Link Between Worlds as another thing that I was playing. And I've been playing some significant amount of Super Mario 3D World because that game is incredible. I haven't beaten it yet because I've been going through very, very slowly and getting all the green stars. And I'm also running 2 games at the same time. I'm doing one game that I play by myself and one game that I play with my daughter when she's around.
Right.
So, so I'm doing everything twice, at least, additional times to get all the green stars.
Right.
But that game is just really, really good. Everything is really, really good right now. I mean, you've got Zelda, you've got Mario, and just everything else that's already out, and then all these deals on the stuff that I missed out around, before, like Fire Emblem, and it's an embarrassment of riches.
I was going to say,
if you're a Nintendo gamer.
I was going to say that it's almost embarrassing that there's so many good games to play because you can't play them all. And people talk about all the good games, and you're like, oh, no, I didn't play that good game because I was playing these good games. And they're like, oh, I wanted to play those good games, but I've been playing these good games. And you just keep going back and forth on that. It's actually like ridiculous how many awesome titles have shipped over the last little while.
Sure. And I have all these sealed first-party Nintendo titles that were on ridiculous deals, like Luigi U and Fire Emblem. And I didn't even mention this, but Mario and Luigi Dream Team I got for $19 on Amazon. It's like they're just stacking up. They're stacking up. I started putting them on the shelves with my other games, and just
it's it's good. It's good. So anything else or is that
let me look at the list here because I'm sure I forgot something. No,
that's pretty much all the big stuff.
Pretty much, I think that's all I've been playing.
Cool. I've been playing some Skylanders with the kids. Lots of Skylanders with the kids. I actually platinumed it on my PlayStation 3, so I got all the trophies to get the platinum trophy because I've been playing it so much. To do platinum the game, you have to beat it on Nightmare, which is not fun. So I played the single player game. Well, not the single player game, but the main game, co-op mostly with my kids. We played battle mode. We did all this great stuff. And then I went through and played Nightmare. And they're like, can we help? And I was like, no, you don't really want to help dad. Dad doesn't get too happy when it comes to these types of games. They're a little too crazy. And they're like, no, we want to help. So my son helped me get the platinum a little bit, a couple of levels, but about halfway through, it's just I'm going through 10 Skylanders to get through the level because your character dies. Then you have to put another character down. You can't bring that other character back into the game. So yeah, I was just playing that, not really enjoying it too much, but I did it, and then I was happy. And then I was like, hey, I didn't platinum Skylanders Giants. So I started my platinum quest for Skylanders Giants, and I'm almost there. And then I'm going to do the classic one, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. So I guess I'm a little sadomasochistic about Skylanders lately, going back and playing through those games. So that's been a lot of fun, having a lot of good times with the kids. We got the Christmas version of Bumble Blast, which is one of the characters. So he's this like he's like a tree, and he has a mouth that has a bunch of honey in it, and he has like a beehive on his backpack, or as a backpack, and he has this cannon that fires bees. Like it's a really great character. He has like a heat-seeking missile launcher. Like you launch a big blob of honey at people, and then any bee that you shoot gets attracted to this guy. So it's like fire and forget type thing. So it's the best character ever. And they did a Christmas version of him. So he has like a Santa hat on. He's wearing a red coat. He's got his bottom is white instead of gray, or instead of brown. So it looks like he has like the big beard. Just really fun. Like I'm really liking what Skylanders is doing. So I'm enjoying that a lot. Also been playing a lot of Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. I'm playing that right now. I have one more dungeon to do, and I'm just loving the hell out of it. Actually, I think in this episode,
It's a great game.
It really is. I think in this episode, we're going to be reviewing both Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, because Steven, you've beat it, and I'm almost there. And then we're also going to review Super Mario 3D World, because I've beat it, and you're almost there. So we can kind of have two views from this each side of these games, because they are really, really fantastic. I'm
only maybe 3 or 4 worlds into Super Mario 3D World.
Okay.
So I'm not far at all.
Okay, well, you can give us your thoughts, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not a full review. And then I'm also playing one other game on my Wii U, and it's the new Adventure Time game. Adventure Time, explore the dungeon, because I don't know. And why did I pick it up? I don't know. It is horrible. The reason why I heard it was bad. I heard there was some issues with it. But it was done by Way Forward, and I like Way Forward. I like the stuff they put out. So this game is a roguelike. If you're not familiar with what a roguelike is, you basically explore a dungeon, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until you die, and then you exit the dungeon and restart and go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's a modern roguelike, so you can skip floors. Death is not permanent. You lose half of the money, the treasure that you find, but that's about it. So it has aspects of games that I love, but I don't know. This game is just clunky. It's unimaginative. The levels are just the same thing over and over and over, 100 times deep. It's got a really weird thing. Like, I was pretty far in the game, and I hit pause because I was doing something with the kids, and then I hit down to go to cancel before I realized it. And I hit the wrong button. I hit the accept button to cancel, and I was like, oh, I don't want to cancel. So I went to no, I don't want to cancel. And instead of hitting accept, I hit the back button, and that chose the opposite of what I was doing. So it did cancel. And it's just it's like, what? Did you do user interface testing on this game?
Oh my God.
So I lost a bunch of progress, and I'm just like, what? What just happened? I didn't understand. Just little things like that just made me so angry.
Oh yeah.
So I put it away, and I don't know if I'm going to go back to it anytime soon. But I've been
that
playing.
Should be the real title.
Yeah,
Adventure Time, explore the dungeon, and I don't know if I'm going back to it anytime soon.
Adventure Time. I'm going to buy this, spend my money, and then bury it in a hole in the ground, so I don't have to look at it again. Because I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing lately. Playing a lot of really awesome games, and then one not so good. Also took advantage of some PlayStation Plus sales. They had all the old Capcom arcade games pretty much on sale. So I got Dungeons and Dragons Chronicles of Mystera for $375. I got the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, the first one, for $375, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for $3.75. So thinking that'll be a fun trio of games to introduce my son to, so we can play some old arcadey type stuff, and
cool.
I'll show him what a fighter is and maybe get into some of that stuff together. So playing
That's a nice price.
Yeah, for $3. I mean, you can't complain for those types of games. I've spent more than that pretty much every time I've played those arcade cabinets in a go. I used to play them all the time.
Speaking of PlayStation Network, did you see that? Well, I don't know if maybe it wasn't in Canada, but we had a deal on Amazon for $9.90. They had the PlayStation Network Best of Collection 1, which has 4 PSN games on it, including Tokyo Jungle and
nice.
A bunch of others.
Nice. I've never played Tokyo Jungle. I've always wanted to play that, even though I anticipate it's not very good. But it's one of those games that I've always wanted to play from early on in the thing. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, man. Well, I think that's about it for what we've been playing. What do you say we jump right into our reviews?
Let's do that.
All right, you're the co-host this week. So how about I let you choose, Steven? What do you want to review first? Do you want to go into Mario, or do you want to jump right into Zelda?
Let's do Zelda first.
Cool. All right. So Zelda, A Link Between Worlds on this lovely system called the 3DS. Whether you have the boring blue one like I do, or the super fancy gold one like Steven is showing off, he actually, this is a bit of a trivia. We might quiz you later at the end of this podcast. Steven actually hangs it around his neck and walks through town like Flavor Flav.
I do.
But it's not a clock. It's his Zelda 3DS. That's how much he likes it.
Right. And to keep my soundtrack going, I actually have to carry my boombox on my back.
Nice.
Since this is hanging around my neck.
Nice. So. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you got that all sorted out. Last time we talked, you hadn't figured out the music thing. So
it was tough because if I came first, I went out with my iPod, but nobody could hear it but me.
Right.
And my strut didn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, they just said, "Look at that guy crazy walking," and that would be awkward. But you got the music now, and that's.
But look at the bling, they said. So we're certainly not going to mess with him. He looks like he might be urban.
That's awesome. Well, that's great. I'm glad you got that all sorted out, man.
Sure.
But so yeah.
Now.
So Zelda: A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. So whether you're playing on the big one, the little one, whichever one, if you
or the gold one,
the blingy one, if you bought the retail version or got a digital download, doesn't matter. Go get this game. This is probably the best title that is on this platform. From start to finish, it is an amazing adventure, which is awesome. So this game, if you're not familiar, you're listening to a Nintendo podcast, so odds are you're familiar. But for the people that aren't, we'll cover it a little bit. You play Link, and you're the hero, the hero of legends, and you've been tasked with saving the world yet again. This is the spiritual successor to Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, and it even takes place in the same world. So if you look
at the sequel,
it is a sequel. That's right. It's not a spiritual successor. It's an actual sequel. And if you look at the map, I don't know if you can see it. My camera's not focusing properly, but the map is the map. Like, I used to have this map on my wall, like in Super Nintendo cartridge, you got this little paper map, and I had it on my wall in my bedroom. So I've looked at this map probably 1,000 times or 10,000 times in my life. And then when I first jumped into this game, it's like, whoa, this is Hyrule. This is my house. I woke up in my house. It looks different, but this is my house. And then it's like, oh, what do I do now? It doesn't tell you. It's like, I guess I got to go to the castle because that's what you did in the first one. So you walk up, and sure enough, you get directed there, and it's like, oh no, I have to go this place first before I can go to that place. It's pretty damn amazing. Obviously, the game looks a lot better, a lot different. It's a 3D engine now, not sprite based. But they did this really cool thing where it's an above view of Link. But the character, you're not just looking at the top of his head. Nintendo actually took the models and like rotated them back about 33 degrees, so that when you walk through the world, it's like you're doing the big leaning back as you're walking. Really kind of weird, but it totally works. And so when Link looks at stuff, like I have a bee flying above my head right now because I cut down some plants, and he kind of just goes, Oh, oh, I don't know how like gravity is working in Hyrule that he's not falling backwards, but it's a really cool effect. And that's the premise. You're the hero of legend. You're tasked with saving the world. You don't know what that means yet. Turns out there's another bad guy, not Ganon. But there's another bad guy that then summons Ganon. So Ganon is part of it, and it's not a spoiler because Ganon's in every single Legend of Zelda. I mean, he's the guy. Almost he's the bad guy.
Yep.
But this guy, his shtick, his thing is he can turn people to paintings. So when you're first playing the game, you walk by Hyrule Castle and you see this like graffiti. You see these guys with big mops and brooms, and they're trying to scrape this stuff off the wall. It turns out that this is an individual, and that's what he does. His power is to turn people into paintings, and he wants to steal all the sages and do the nasty stuff so he can basically take over the world. And so begins your adventure as Link, the hero of legend in yet another Zelda. So that's basically the premise. And then you basically get the ability to travel between worlds because he attacks you and it doesn't work because of something that you're wearing, but I won't spoil any of that stuff. But anyway, you now can then turn into a painting on the side of a building and then walk along buildings. When I first saw this done, I thought it was like kind of weird and kind of bizarre, and I didn't really understand it. Turns out that is my favorite part of the game, traveling between Hyrule and Lorule. So besides that preamble, kind of the introduction, what did you think of the game, Steven?
It's as close to perfect as a video game gets.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this game. There's nothing that I wished was different.
I have to agree with you there. From like the one of the main changes, if you've played Zelda before, you basically start the game with nothing, then you get a sword, and then you have to buy shields, and then you're told to go to a dungeon, and when you go to the dungeon, you see a bunch of stuff that you can't do in that dungeon, and it's really frustrating. And then you get, I found the bow and arrow. All those things that I couldn't do before, I can now do because I got the bow and arrow. So you beat the bow and arrow dungeon. Then you come out and you go to another dungeon. It's like, there's a bunch of ice blocking my way. What do I do? I get the fire rod in this dungeon, and I can melt all this ice, and that's how I get through it. That's kind of how Zelda's always been. It's very formulaic. You go from one dungeon, get the item, you need that item to beat the boss and get through the level, go to the next dungeon, get another item, use that to get through the level and beat the boss, go to the next one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They've kind of flipped that totally on its head because in this one, you can rent all of the items right at the start. So you basically go and you talk to a guy called Ravio, who looks very much like Nabbit, which is really kind of an odd thing. I guess every Nintendo game now is going to have a little like rabbit looking guy that's going to help you. Is that like a new Nintendo thing? Maybe I don't know. But you basically go talk to him, and then you can buy your bow and arrow, you can buy your bomb, or you can just rent them. So for example, the bomb is say 800 rupees to buy, but you can rent it for 50. And you can use it for as long as you want. It never runs out. You can keep laying bombs as long as you have magic and your magic regens. Keep doing it. But then as soon as you die, all the items that you rented get sucked out of your body, and then you have to go re-rent them. So it's a good thing early on to basically buy everything and then clear out a bunch of stuff. And then when you focus on a dungeon that you think you're going to die at, maybe only rent one or two items as you're saving your rupees to then buy all the items. So what did you think of that, Steven?
I thought that was great. I bought them as quick as I could.
Yeah, I did too. Before I even went to Lorule, I had all the items except for one purchased.
I never had a rented item confiscated.
Oh, really? Okay, I did.
Not a single time.
I did. Actually, that's not true. I had two items were missing because the sand rod, you need to go to Lorule before it's unlocked that you can get. But yeah, I had everything purchased. It was really, really fun. So what do you think of Nintendo's choice to or decision to kind of change the formula? Do you think this is kind of the jolt to the arm that the Zelda franchise needed?
Yes. Yeah. And
I
don't know if they're going to keep this, but
yeah,
I thought it was great. I love it. I was never stressed out by the structure of the game or anything like that. And that's a problem that I've had with a lot of the, especially the more recent Zeldas, where it's like, okay, now this dungeon is gated by this item. And there was some small amounts of that, but, it was never bad because you could always get the stuff if you really wanted it, and you didn't need that much money if you wanted to rent it. But if you wanted to buy it like I did, you just saved up.
Yeah, and rupees are everywhere. Like,
and there's no wallets. You basically have a bottomless wallet from the start.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really cool because as soon as you beat the first 3 dungeons and you get access to low rule, which has I guess 8 dungeons to go through. Is that right, or is it 7? 7, I guess.
Could be 7, could be 8. I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
Somewhere around there.
There's 7 sages, so I'm assuming there's 7 dungeons, but I'm not positive on that. I could just look, but I'm too lazy. But as soon as you go to low rule, I mean, you're essentially killing enemies. Like green enemies give you pretty much always will give you a gold or a green rupee, which is 1. There'll be blue enemies, which will almost always give you a 5 rupee blue rupee, and then there's like red or pink enemies, which will most of them will always give you a red rupee, which gives you 20.
I never noticed that correlation.
Yeah, so like you could keep going out of the screen, going back in, killing a red enemy, getting 30 rupees or 20 rupees, going back out, coming back in. So you're able to farm and get all your items as quick as you want. Like if you want to spend some time farming, you can buy all the items pretty darn quick. I did most of that in Hyrule, which didn't have those enemies for the most part. So I was doing a lot of farming in other places, running out of the screen, running back in, destroying a whole field of grass, running out, running back in, destroying a whole field of grass, running out, running back in, doing that while watching TV to buy all the items. There's also another character in the game. He's the bee guy. And if you talk to him, he eventually will give you the net. And you can basically catch bees. So when you cut down grass, sometimes bees will come out. And they'll attack you unless you catch them first. But then he tasks you with finding a golden bee. And if you happen to find a golden bee and catch him, not only does it give you, I think it's like 500 rupees or 200 rupees, some large amount, but then he gives you the bee badge so that bees won't attack you anymore. And then you can collect bees as much as you want and turn them in. And so I did a mixture of cutting down grass and catching bees. Really fun. I felt like I was playing Animal Crossing, actually, just doing all that stuff to gather enough rupees. And unlike most RPGs, it didn't feel grindy. Like I didn't dislike the experience, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks and sounds really, really good. The music is really good. The sound effects are nicely done. You know, everything's reminiscent of what it sounded like in Link to the Past. But
the soundtrack
it's not
is just gorgeous.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pumped up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And the controls are just spot on perfect. And it's so refreshing after playing, the last few handheld Zeldas. You had Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass where you were attacking by touching and, and swiping on things with the stylus and stuff like that, which worked and was good enough.
Yep.
But, there's nothing like running around with a D-pad or a stick and buttons. Everything's so responsive. And the frame rate is really high. I mean, it feels like close to 60.
Yeah, I don't think I've
all
seen
the
it.
time.
Don't remember it dropping once while I was playing.
Yeah, and I played it all in 3D, almost all of it, completely in 3D, and it looked great and it ran great. I mean, there's games out there that the frame rate drops significantly when you put it in 3D, but this does not.
Right.
The 3D adds a lot to this game. I mean, the last game that I think did 3D this well that I played was Super Mario 3D Land.
I don't think I've even turned the slider on once.
Turn it on, man.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
Turn it
now.
on, trust me.
Oh,
it's so good.
Nabbit character looks really 3D lounging on the floor of my house while his little birdie guy flies above his head. That's pretty 3D.
Don't touch that bag. It has the most important thing in the world in it.
Don't touch the bag. Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't even try.
The big money bag he has over on the right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go try.
Walk over to it. He'll yell at you.
Hey, don't touch that bag, Mr. Hero. There's something that's more important than life itself. All right, I will.
Back him up.
It has a big rupee on it, so I'm assuming that's what it is. Yep. Yeah, the 3D actually does look really nice. Now that wow, does it ever look good now that I'm in the overworld? All right, maybe I'll play a little bit with 3D turned on.
Yeah, you've been missing out, man. This is just so good. So good in 3D. The bosses are so brilliantly designed.
Yeah. So before we get to the bosses, I want to chat about one other thing. In this game, they've added a little item collection, kind of a mini game almost, that is set throughout the whole world, where you find these little creatures called Mayamai, or something like that. That's all I'm saying. It Mai, but it could be something else. And there's 100 of them located all throughout the world. So in Hyrule and Lorule, and you don't see them all the time. They'll be all you'll hear is when you're playing the game, you'll hear like this little like kind of screaming type squeaky cry that these little animals are doing. So
like a peeping noise, like a baby chick or something.
Yeah, like it's this little noise, and as you get closer to the thing, it gets louder and louder, and then finally it's like, okay, it must be in this area, so you can like charge into a tree, or sometimes you have to merge with a wall and then go behind the thing and then pop out to pop it off the wall because it's stuck on the wall, or there's even ones that you have to basically use some of the items in your in your repertoire to do things like swirls up some wind and some other things. But it was funny because I always saw these things in the world before I met like the Mai's mother that gives you the quest to get it. And I'm like, why is there this thing in the middle of nowhere that has to do something? And I'm like trying to burn it, and I'm running into it, and I'm like casting different magic on it. It's like, well, this tree does nothing. It's just really awkwardly placed in the middle of nowhere. And then so I go meet this mother, and I'm like, oh, there's this whole other mini game that I didn't know about. And then and then it's like, hey, I bet you if I go back to this thing, and sure enough, there was one of those guys hanging out in the tree that I knocked off. Really, really cool kind of add-on. You don't have to do it, but each 10 that you find of the 100, the mother gives you the chance to upgrade one of your weapons. So you can go from like the bomb to the good bomb,
the nice bomb.
or the nice bomb, or the nice hook shot, or the nice ice rod. Everything gets nicer. And they're actually a lot better. Like if you have the fire rod, it drops like this little tiny thing of fire, and then this big not big, little tiny column of fire comes up. If you have the nice fire rod, this huge torrent of flames just comes in circles. It's like, oh,
and
wow.
burns you because
and burns
I always
you
stood too close.
Because you're way too close to it, exactly. Or if you get the nice sand rod, it makes this huge column of sand
that stays up longer.
That stays up forever, I think. I don't think it ever goes down until you cast.
I never saw it collapse either.
Yeah, until you cast another one. So it's actually worth it to go find all these guys. And the final upgrade, I won't spoil it, but it increases something that you're going to be doing with your weapons all the time. Your main weapon. But yeah, like just this little add-on thing. So you're not only just finding little pieces of hearts, they've added this other little super cutesy thing that doesn't really. It's not something that you have to do, but it would behoove you to take the time to do it because
it's fun. And it's so much fun.
And it is fun. It is fun. And that's the main thing about this game. Like everything in it is just like I was smiling. I was smiling throughout the whole game. Like I'll get into that more with Mario because it was even more. Like I had a stupid grin on my face. If people would have saw me, I bet you I would have been like, "Are you having a stroke? Like what's with your face, Lloyd?" Because I just had this like goofy look on my face the whole time I was playing it. To a lesser extent, but still the same with Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
All right.
Nintendo saw your face and they shut down SwapNote.
And they did because I was sending photos to everybody.
What is he doing? We got to shut this down now.
Some kind of crazy guy. Does he have a white van? Like, what's this guy doing? But so yeah, that's Legend of Zelda. Let's talk a little bit about the dungeons. I got to say the dungeons in this game are the best designed Zelda dungeons I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Mainly because you can go to them in any order, which has never been doable in Legend of Zelda. Really, you always
not completely. Yeah,
yeah.
There's always some amount of control.
Yeah, there was always breadcrumbs to take you from one to the other. You could sometimes do some in different, like swap one with another. But
yeah, like in the first one, you could go to almost all of them right away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in the first
one,
they
were too hard. The monsters were too hard.
In the first one, you didn't even know where they were. Like there was no hints, no clues, no nothing. It was just, I'm just gonna burn this bush. Oh, there's stairs. What is this stair thing? Oh, I'm in a thing where I'm pushing blocks. What am I doing? But yeah, in this one, like you can go to any dungeon in any order, however you want. Which at first I didn't like. I'm like, oh, really? Well, what if I need the items? And it's like, wait a second, I can rent all the items or buy them. I don't need to worry about this anymore. So then the adventure becomes finding your way into the dungeon and finding the weather vane outside of the dungeon so you can teleport to it, because immediately you get fast travel pretty much at the start of the game, which is...
Those weather vanes are so cool. Like just the noises they make and the behavior and the design. They're so cool.
How they remind you to save after you've done something for a long time. They start chirping at you.
They start flapping and spinning around like, hey, time to save.
Hey, idiot. Save your game. You just spent an hour here doing this thing. Why don't you come save? But yeah, like I gotta say, like the dungeons in this game they're perfect in their design. How you can't ever get stuck in them. You can go to them in any order that you want. In most Zeldas, there's always like one or two dungeons that are just like, what am I doing wrong? Or you'd use your silver key in the wrong door, and it's like, oh crap, I should have gone the other way, because then I'd get this one thing to then do this other thing to do this other thing. Now I have to find out the other secret area where I can get this other key. In this one, I mean, you can tackle the dungeon in a number of different ways for most of them. I guess the only one that was a little bit different was the dark dungeon, where you kind of had to do it in a certain order because of how you were unlocking the different lights to shine down to open it up. Yeah, but I mean, it was just great, like from start to finish. The battle system, the different enemies, the sounds, the graphics. I mean, everything.
The boss designs.
The bosses are amazing. They sound amazing. They look amazing,
and they're genuinely intimidating.
Yeah.
Without being, unfairly challenging.
Yeah. Like they're not a boss battle where you hit the guy 3 times and then he's dead. Like I can't remember what boss it was. I think it was in the sand area.
Yeah, I knew you were going to mention that one. Oh my god!
I'd hit the guy like 100 times with my sword to finally kill him. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, it looks like he's getting hit. Like he's doing the little like animation, there's sound, he's flashing a little bit, like I'm hitting him, but he's not taking any damage. And then after like 100 hits, he finally starts flashing red and then goes down. It's like, wow, that was a crazy battle.
I used the bow on that one, the nice bow, and it worked really well.
Yeah. What was I think I was using the bow to get him to stop, and then I'd run over and just wail on him with my sword until he would then start moving, and then you run away. But yeah, like even the hard boss battles weren't that bad. I think I only died on a boss once. The other times I'd go in with enough bottles filled with red potion or fairies so that I could then like back up and try something else while I was doing it. Not to say
the final boss I died at. I died I think twice.
Okay,
and that was it. I think I died once on that sand boss because I just couldn't get the, before I was using the bow, it was just way too challenging for me.
Right.
And I wasn't carrying around potions at all. But when I got to the last boss, I died a couple times until I went in there with potions, and then I didn't take any damage. I didn't take any damage that last time.
Nice.
Because I had taken a break and cleared my mind.
For sure.
Very cool.
So yeah, what else is there to say about Zelda? I mean,
buy it.
Yeah. Like anybody that has a 3DS, I mean, you need this game. It is the perfect starter Zelda. If someone's never played a Zelda before, this is a good thing to start them on.
Best Zelda in a decade.
Yeah, easily. I'm actually thinking of buying a cartridge version of it so that I can give it to my daughter and see how her and my son can play through it. There's still a lot of reading, so he can help her with that. She's reading, but not quite this like large amount of text. But I think they're probably with it enough that they can play through this and figure their way and get through it just the way I did in the old Zeldas when there was no guides, there was no nothing. It was play it a lot until you figure it out and then tell your friends how awesome you did when you get to school the next day.
Great design.
Cool. So yeah, Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, pretty damn perfect, almost perfect game. It doesn't get much better than this, guys. This is pretty amazing. And usually you get games like this right in like kind of the twilight of a console generation. And the 3DS has years and years ahead of it. So I'm only kind of like trying to sit here and guess what Nintendo's going to do next for a mainline Zelda on this console. Because this one is awesome. If they continue on in this vein, I'm happy. I'm a happy Zelda fanboy because there's going to be some really great experiences coming forth.
Yeah, I just such a relief. Such a relief to be playing such a good Zelda again, because it's been quite a while.
Yeah, the Wii ones were okay, but they weren't great. This is great.
Twilight Princess. I thought Twilight Princess was good.
Yep.
But I was very disappointed with it at the end. I thought the ending was disappointing.
Sure. Yeah, no, I can see that.
It was pretty, but it was kind of disappointing.
Yep. And then Skyward Sword, which I never played. I still haven't played. And I'm a big Zelda fan, but
I stopped halfway through. I just was so frustrated with that game.
Nice.
And its guide.
And its guide, exactly. Cool. All right. Well, that's Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. If you haven't already, pause this podcast, go out and buy it, download it from the eShop, do whatever you got to do, but get it because it is a really, really, really awesome game.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's get from one like really great game to something that's terrible, right? Like through Super Mario 3D World. It's just
You mean the Xbox One? Oh my god.
just terrible, right? Just
play some of those launch games. Oh, never mind.
So, on the same day, talk about an embarrassment of riches. Super Mario 3D World came out, and this is the one that I picked up first and played first. And I like just burned my way through this game in 2 days, playing with my kids.
Wow.
Like we spent a whole Saturday playing it, and then we played it more on the Sunday. And it is like I said, playing the game, I had a stupid grin on my face the whole time. It's taken all of the joy that I've ever had playing Mario, kind of put it in this like grape crusher and crushed it into its juice and then boiled it into its essence of joy and then just injected it right into my body because it was amazing from start to finish.
Yeah.
So
that moment when you grab the cherry power-up item, and then you grab another cherry power-up item and another cherry power-up item, and there's 4 or 5 little toads running around the stage, just hopping and not getting stuck really that much, and not getting in the way, and they're just bouncing all over the place. It's so well done. I mean, it's just polished to a shine. It's like it's embarrassingly good. Yeah,
it is really, really good. So for most of the game, I play this with my kids co-op. So I played on the gamepad, usually as Mario because everyone wanted to be the other characters. Nick was always Toad and Allie was always Princess Peach. So I was able to play through this game, except for some of the later levels where it was basically I'd get to a section, okay kids, bubble. And they would go into a bubble, and then I'd go get through the hard part. It was like, okay, you can pop your bubble. And they'd pop their bubble. And it's like, oh, no, you got to bubble again. They would bubble. But except for like some of the levels on the last world, pretty much played every single level co-op with my 2 kids and didn't have any problems. Didn't have any issues where one person was sticking on an edge of a screen and stopping everybody from jumping across gaps. There was some of that, but not a lot of it. I guess what I'm trying to say is pretty much every level in this game has been designed super, super well. Like it was designed around the co-op play in mind. It's really fun single player as well. But when you play it co-op, it's a whole other level of fun. Like you get multiple power-ups. So instead of fighting over the fire flower, you hit a question mark block and you can hit it 3 times if there's 3 of you guys and you get 3 of the same power-ups. The cat suit is probably the cutest thing that has ever been in a Mario game. My kids just always wanted to be the cat, even if they were just running up walls constantly, like doing stupid things. They just wanted to be the cat. But yeah, like just from start to finish, I mean, I don't have one complaint with this game. Like this is 2 Nintendo games released on the same day, and there's absolutely no complaints with them at all that I had. So I don't know, Steven, what were your thoughts on what you've played so far of Super Mario 3D World?
Crazy fun. I would get through a stage and I've been going through slowly, and trying to collect the green stars, all 3 green stars or however many there are in each stage. And I played it co-op. I played it, with my daughter, with my friends. It's just crazy good, get through and find 2 of the green stars. And like, oh, I missed one. There's one somewhere between this point and this point. Mm-hmm. And then I go back into the stage looking for that green star. And it's like, I did not mind playing the first water one where you're riding on that plesiosaur or whatever it is.
Right.
Plessy, whatever.
Plessy, yep.
Yeah, when you have to go up the ramps and get the stars.
Yep.
I didn't mind playing through that one a good 6 times to try and find all the stars.
Yep.
It was just so much fun and so pretty. The game is just gorgeous and great, just great style, great music.
Yeah. Yeah. The first, like,
great characters.
The soundtrack for the first level, it's just like, it's everything that Mario's about. Playing that level, jumping around, being goofy, collecting really awesome items, and then just having really, really awesome fun with your family while playing it. It's what I remember Mario to be when I was a kid. And it's really good to see that it got back to that.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I loved the Mario Galaxy. I love New Super Mario Brothers for different reasons. But this is free roaming, 3D multiplayer. It's great. So in this game, they've added a bunch of things. They've added transparent pipes, which is kind of
which are so slick.
Yeah, but when people say, yeah, there's transparent pipes, it's like, yeah, who cares? You just go down a pipe and you appear something else. But in this one, the pipes, you can go through them. You can take different areas, collect items, avoid things.
You can shoot fireballs through them.
There was a little bit of that in Super Mario 3D Land, but they were just, they would open up, you'd see your character a little bit, just in the section that you're in. These are the full pipes are transparent, so you can kind of see far ahead what's happening and all this stuff, which is great. They've added in a bunch of different power-ups. So there's the cat suit, so you collect the bell and you turn into Mario in a cat suit,
and he goes meow meow,
and which is I want that as my text sound. So whenever I get a text, that comes up, but then people might look at me weird at work, so maybe I won't do that.
But more than they already do.
More than they already do, exactly. But that power up, instead of just being like, it's not Tanuki where you have a tail, you can jump in a wall and stick. You can climb up a wall. You can attack enemies with your claws. And you can do this diving attack where if you jump in the air and then hit the attack button, you'll basically launch at them through the air as well, which is really cool. What else? There's the cherry that you mentioned, Steven, where if you collect a cherry, you basically you get one extra of your characters. So you can have, at one point, I think I had 6 Marios jumping around, being all like out of sync. They'd be perfectly, so I would know all my platform would be perfect. And then one guy would get stuck on one little bit of geometry, and then he'd be out of sync. And it's like, oh no, how do I get this guy back so we're all in a straight line so we can do this jump? A lot of really goofy fun. Along with that power up, there's a bunch of different kind of pads that you stand on that have a number on them, and you have to have that many characters standing on that pad. So there's a lot of like, let's duplicate ourselves, and then get to the pads with as many of those characters as you possibly can, because you know there's going to be a star waiting for you if you get further in the level that way. That was a lot of fun. And then they added a bunch of like really goofy, stupid ones where if you sometimes jump into a block, you'll get like a bullet bill launcher launched on your head.
Yeah, that was the first time that happened. I was like, what is this? This is crazy. It's just so much fun.
It's just stupid fun. And the coin block stuck on your head thing is back, but it's even cooler this time because it's not
New Super Mario 2 that was in, right?
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it looks better. It's just a lot more fun, and there's a bunch of other ones as well. Like, it just they've designed like every single world to be its own little experience. Like it brings me back a lot to Mario 64, where you'd go to a world and it would just be so different from every other world. But in that game, you'd be going back multiple times because you'd be getting like the all the stars on the world. So you'd be doing it in a bunch of different areas. They'd kind of basically redo the level somewhat in one way or another way, but in this one, like, each world is its own little experience. There's almost no things duplicated from one to the other. Like, there's what they showed in the Nintendo Direct. There's a world where you're playing Mario Kart butt sliding down hills, and it has the Mario Kart music, and it's like, what is this? How is this even something that I'm playing? There's levels where they're really vertical. There's levels where you're running left to right. There's like, they've taken all the stuff that you can do in a 2D Mario, and pretty much they've probably taken like ideas that they've had for multiple games, and they've taken all of the ideas that didn't already go in and put them all into this game. And it's been a lot of fun. The world map is different in this game as well. It's its own little 3D environment that you can run around in to explore the different worlds, which was kind of neat. There's a toad house now that when you go into it, you play another mini game with a toad that can't jump. So it's kind of like this little puzzle thing where you have to figure out how do I get all the stars in this world with my toad without dying. So yeah, there's just so much to do in this game. And it's so much fun. There's of course secrets. There's warp pipes to get from one continent to another. After you beat the game, there's another world that gets unlocked where you can unlock another character. You've probably seen screenshots. Nintendo announced it. It's Rosalita, so I don't mind saying it now because it's not really a spoiler. That character is awesome because she always has an attack. Like she has a Tanuki tail, so that's my daughter's new favorite character. So she's left Peach for Rosalita. That's her name, right? Rosalita. I think is it Rosalina?
Rosalina.
Rosalina. Yeah, one of those. It's the character from Galaxy, and it just I don't know. It's awesome. It's well worth the $60. Even though I blew through it in a weekend, we've gone back and played it more to get all the stars, to play multiplayer with the family as well. Playing 4 players is a lot of fun. It's like a perfect Mario game. Like Nintendo somehow hit 2 balls out of the park, and they've come out with the best version of those franchises for both times. The best Zelda that's come out in the last little while, like you were saying, Steven, probably 10 years, and the best Mario that's been out since probably Galaxy 2. It's just such a fun game.
Well, it's right up there with Mario 3D Land.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
If you only buy 2 games for your family this holiday and you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, there's probably no better pair than buying Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds on the 3DS and Zelda or Super Mario 3D World on your Wii U, because they're each going to have hours and hours and hours of fun, replayable, just so much fun. The one thing I don't understand is why they were released so close together on the same day. Like, why didn't Nintendo come out with one and then come out with another one the next month? It seems like it's just such great games that you'd think Nintendo normally would be the company that would spread these out as far as possible, but for some reason they gave it to you on the same day, and it was a good day to be a Nintendo gamer, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Anything else to add about Mario? I think I talked way too much. Yeah, buy it. Exactly.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Just taking a drink because I've been talking so much. All right.
Yeah, you were cranking there for a bit.
Well, we're not gonna do too much news this week, just because we've been out of it for a while. But we want to talk a little bit about the biggest news item that has come out in the last little while, and that is the update to the 3DS, which came out. Was it this week or was it last week? I think it was this week, right?
It was only about 24 hours ago.
Really? Mm-hmm. Was that... What? Am I in like a time warp? It feels like it's been forever. Maybe, yeah, I guess it was only been about a couple days ago when I did it. It came out at like 11 o'clock one night a couple days ago. So yeah, I think it was on Tuesday.
Night before last.
So yeah, it was on Tuesday.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And it's Thursday. Wow. I'm kind of, time warp here. Really
the new post 3DS update world is so overwhelming that it's as though time has slowed.
It is. I can't handle it, Steven. Thanks for are you gonna help me get through this? Can I lean on you a little bit to get through this new future, or this new now? It's no longer the future. It's the now. Anyway,
it's the now, the next generation, the future generation,
exactly.
The slow generation.
Exactly. So yeah, they came out with a new update to the 3DS, which did
firmware version 7, something like that.
Yeah, it's
7.0.
It's pretty ridiculous, the numbering scheme. It's way up there. They've been doing a lot of updates on this thing, but this is probably the first step in what has come from the amalgamating of the 2 teams, which Nintendo did recently, where they took the console team and the handheld team and said, no. We're not going to have separate islands anymore where you guys don't talk to each other. We're going to mush you all together into the same workspace, and you guys can work on things together. And what this update added It added a Nintendo Network IDs finally, so you can use the same Nintendo Network ID on your 3DS as your Wii U, which is kind of fun. Although your friends list isn't quite synced up yet, maybe at some point that will happen where they sync up between the two of them. They've amalgamated your two balances on the eShop between your Wii U and your 3DS, which is huge because I was always like, I'd buy a $20 eShop card and it's like, oh damn, where do I activate this? I want this game, but it's $7, so I'll have $14 left over, or $13 left over. But if I buy this thing on the Wii U, I'll only have $4 left over. But maybe it's gonna having extra money on this one because something else becomes like, it was always this like huge battle. Like, what do I do? What do I want more? Now you just drop it on your account and you could buy stuff on the Wii U and on the 3DS. It's what should have been here all along, Steven.
Yes. Yeah, it's about time, and it's a small step in the direction of having, accounts that can actually move from one system to another.
Yeah. And they've done some other things, like along with doing that, they've removed the limitation for the number of transfers you can do on your 3DS. So if you buy multiple 3DSs, you could only do what was it, five transfers, right? Yeah. They've removed that, so you can move it as many times as you want, which is good. Which is a good idea. I don't know if many people would have more than 5 3DSs in their future, but maybe that's something that a lot of people have, so that was great. But that's a nice little feature. And I guess last but not least, they added Miiverse finally. And they did it in a really, really good way. So one of the biggest features of Miiverse on the Wii U was the ability to attach game screenshots. And it wasn't something you had to do. You would just go to the home screen, go to Miiverse, and it would copy your screenshot to memory. You would then go to a message. You'd see that there's a screenshot available. You'd click it. You'd use it. You'd send a message, and that was that. I didn't think that would be possible on the 3DS when they first started talking about screenshots, or Miiverse rather. But the first thing I did is I went into Legend of Zelda. I hit the home button, went to Miiverse, went to create a new post, and sure enough, I had a little screenshot there that I could post. And you could do the top or bottom. And I think you can even do 3D, right? Like you can do a 3D screenshot to Miiverse. Is that true? Do you know, Steven?
Yes. If you have the slider turned on in 3D when you take the screenshot, it will take a 3D screenshot, and people who view it with their slider turned on will see it in 3D. But if you take it with the slider turned off, it takes a 2D screenshot.
Wow.
How interesting is that?
That is kind of cool. That is really kind of cool. So I'm signing into Miiverse right now, and with the 3D screenshot, and I'll post it. So if you follow me on the Miiverse, I'm DasmeU, DASMEU. You can see the screenshot that I'm going to post here. But yeah, it's just this great little feature. It runs in the background. Like I didn't think there was enough memory in the 3DS to do this type of thing. I don't know what kind of wizardry their engineers had to do, but it works really, really, really well. So anything else to add, Steven?
No.
Nothing at all.
It's a cool cool thing that they've done this. It's not enough. But it's nice to see them doing something with it. And one of the things that I said when the 3DS was out and struggling and starting to get really good, and that I've repeated several times since then, is that it's better for us when Nintendo struggles at a console launch. You know, what we saw happen with the 3DS and what we're seeing happen with the Wii U, these are very good things for us as consumers because it makes Nintendo fix the crap. Pardon my English.
Yeah, exactly.
They patch this stuff. They fix stuff. They speed stuff up. They add features. They make it better and better and better. And I wanted the Wii U to be a failure at launch. And I got my wish.
Yeah.
And they're working on it, and they're fixing it. So
that they are? Oh, cool.
Whereas you look at, like, you know, the GameCube, they did good enough with the GameCube, and they never really pulled that out. I loved that system.
Yep.
And I still do. But it, you know, it beat the Xbox, you know, in terms of worldwide install base, but not by a great deal. And that's egg on the face right there, because that guy was new.
Yep.
Not very good. Console was not very good.
So let's see if I can show this. So I just posted a 3D screenshot. So if someone wants to check it out, the message is, my house is a very, very, very fine house, because I'm stupid and I couldn't think of anything else to say when I took a picture of my house. But yeah, it sure enough posted in 3D. So pretty damn cool. So nice little feature. I'm really, really happy with my 3DS. I hope, as you were saying, I hope they integrate things a little bit more. It would be nice to be able to see all the apps that I've ever purchased across all my devices on my Wii U, for example. That would be great. So all of the Virtual Console titles that I bought way back in the day on my Wii, I can just rebuy them at a lower price or just download them for free would be really nice. Getting some of that stuff between the 3DS and the Wii U would be great. The ability to have one single friends list across both platforms would be really great if you choose to. There's still work to be done, but this is, like we said, a nice step into the future.
It definitely is. And the friend thing is definitely worth noting, because there's no visible friend system in the 3DS version of Everse. And the reason for this is there already was a friend system on the 3DS at launch, and it's a different system than the one that was on the Wii U at launch. And I don't know how they could unify the two.
Yeah, they'd have
because
to,
there's no way they can make sure that everybody has the upgrade.
Yeah, what they'd
and
have to do,
lose your friends.
They'd have to have both on the 3DS. So you'd have an old friend, and then you'd have all your Nintendo Network ID based friends show up as well. And then eventually, as people link their Nintendo Network ID, the friend code version of them would just cease to exist and would just be the Nintendo Network ID version of them. They could do something like that. It would be a lot of work, but I mean, that's probably the only way that they're going to be able to do that and amalgamate that type of stuff. Wouldn't be a bad thing anyway.
Yeah. We'll see.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's about do it, man. We've been talking for about an hour now, a little more. What do you say we call it quits for today?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right, guys.
Music and
play some
bop
music.
Around a little bit.
How about with Donkey Kong? Donkey Kong is always a favorite. People like.
I was hoping you'd do that.
Let's do that. Let us know what you think. We apologize that there hasn't been a show for the last little while. Hopefully there won't be too many more breaks, except for obviously over the holidays. We actually spend some time with our families and stuff like that. So let us know what you think of the show. VGpodcast@gmail.com. Sorry, I cut you off, Steven.
It's okay. All I said was who. The joke is, who's my family? I don't have a family. All I have is games.
The listeners are your family, Steven. You're gonna spend some time at each listener's house. So if you get a knock at the door and a Steven shows up, you have to let him in and give him some hot tea and maybe some food.
Coconut custard pie.
There you go. VGpodcast@gmail.com is our email. You can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG Podcast. Check out our forums and follow us on Twitter. I'm at DazMe on Twitter. Steven is at Steven J. Munn. Until next time, guys, take it easy and go play those games. There's a lot of great ones to be played right now. Later, everybody.
Bye.